I copied some of your slides from the talking about.
Let me just talk to this for a second, because this is something that this is a study that. Thank you. This was a study that Microsoft did actually here in the Philippines, because we wanted to understand what is the impact of technology on youth, and if you put a computer in the hands of a young person and give them access to the internet, this is the economic impact that it has in terms of earnings, in terms of savings on health costs, and even in terms of saving on prisons. I don't know how they managed to figure that out, but apparently, kids with computers don't go to prison. I don't know, but it takes them from being. It takes a person over their lifetime from being a consumer of social services to a productive member of the economy. So this just kind of underscores what Ponce is saying today about the potential opportunity for building applications that are oriented around youth and youth empowerment and creating economic opportunities for young people is tremendous. It's a tremendous market for you, and one of the many sectors that we encourage you to look at. Thanks.
Thanks, John. Next slide, please. So some of the apps that we think are needed are in literacy and numeracy. So there's a separate education sector, but we want to explore the other young people who are outside the system, because in average in developing countries, for instance in India, most people who are young people who are poor only go to school for 4 years and they never go back. So they don't have other opportunities to learn about literacy, numeracy, which is fundamental in functioning. We also want to explore apps fit for young people in the rural setting, which who do not have access to smartphones. So we want to understand what type of services we could give them in a different type of device that they're using. Particularly that they're the ones who need support in terms of technical and vocational training to improve their skills. In terms of political empowerment, we see young people heavily involved in different causes and through different sites, some of which are being supported by Microsoft, like Taking It Global and Youth Spark, and we want to know how we can take that further. The site that Chris showed is very helpful, because if you click in the Learn More and you read about the particular type of app that would be needed, you'd see data on the other side explaining how many millions of people need it and all that stuff. So we highly recommend that. So that's it for me.
Okay. So we have two people before who were already familiar with that. So we're going to rush out of here and have a look at it. All right.
No one's going to rush out and take a look at it.
They already did.
They've already made their minds up. So I hope that we've been able to demystify a little bit about ADP and also show you how to find some of the detailed areas of thematic sectors that we work in, and use some examples of where ICT fits into the business of the effect of it in terms of the bigger picture, is because we use property overall, which is what we're all hoping to do. Where to find some of the specific challenges. How we move from there, what sort of support, any questions you've got. This project is sort of put together to facilitate the process, so we're ready to help in any way we can in that respect. So we're open for questions, and
I'll let me run the mic around.
Yeah, apparently Apps for Asia, just by using the word apps, we're going to be heavily focused on mobility solutions, right? So these are going to be apps that make use of mobile phones, tablets, and mobile internet. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a fair statement that apps do have sort of a mobile. They become associated with mobile phones, right? But in reality, apps are really anything that you can download onto a device. You know, the key to apps is that they're normally available in the cloud. You can download them to a mobile phone or any particular device you happen to be using. So you make a fair point, and I agree with you to some extent. But hold on. But don't feel. I don't want anyone walking away here feeling like they have to build apps for phones.
Yeah, I guess the question is, a lot of the programs that you're seeing in terms of ICT have to do with creating apps that fulfill ADB's mission in, say, poverty reduction. No? But is there any program that the ADB is running to actually lower the cost of mobile internet in the rural areas? Maybe lower the cost or improve the speed? Are you working with, let's say, mobile carriers in this area?
The sugarcane farmer had an app that told him the market price and when to harvest his crop. You know, isn't that an example?
No, I guess I think because I work for a carrier, and what we see is in the rural areas there's a lack of education about mobile internet. There's also a perception that this is expensive. So since you're talking about developers going out there and creating apps that will eventually connect with mobile internet anyway, do you also have any programs that we can work together like with mobile carriers to lower the costs of mobile internet, increase the coverage, and possibly make faster speeds available to the masses?
Right. Well, I know in terms of, and have a look at the ICT section of the slide of some specific examples. Right. I know a fraction of the projects and sectors that go on. At a macro level, we're putting in cables to the Pacific Islands at the moment. Indeed, working with the private sector in a joint venture to put in undersea cables at the sort of project level. Might not understand some of the technicalities behind your question. Then we're introducing technology in very remote areas, in schools in Mongolia, to Afghanistan, right throughout the region.
I guess the question has to do with if the farmer does have this app, the school app that allows him to check prices, we can't connect. We can't afford to connect.
That's right. Well, there are some things going on right now, actually here in the Philippines, that Chris probably isn't aware of because they happen mostly at the country office level. As we speak, the Philippine government is in a workshop right now with the US FCC discussing some commercial pilots around TV whitespace, which if you don't know what TV whitespace is, it's the space on TV spectrum that's in between channels. And technology or researchers have discovered that you can shoot broadband long distances on that spectrum. And we did a demonstration of TV whitespace at the ADB annual meeting last year here in Manila. And we're now at the stage, or the government here is now at the stage where they are going to start to do some pilot testing around this. And literally you can achieve 20 to 30 kilometer radius of broadband that using this particular spectrum. The Philippine government has spoken to the ADB local country office about potential financing for this, but it's still very early days. So the short answer is yes, the ADB is involved in efforts to try to to drop the cost and increase the access to connectivity, but the government here is yet not at the stage where they're going to roll that out broadly. So, and some carriers are also involved in that particular discussion today as well. So there are efforts going on, but it's the key. It's really a key issue. Okay, we'll go this one here and then in the back over there.
Have we considered Facebook and Twitter into the equation? Because we are talking about targeting the youth, and right now these people is using Twitter, Facebook for political and economic empowerment. Are we trying to shift the paradigm to build an alternative for them to go into, or we could maybe build on what the billions of users of Facebook have? But what I'm just talking about is the strategy. We build an app, we start a user base from scratch. We build an app on top of this current predominant infrastructure. Users can easily be filtered. You're building a proven infrastructure already. Or are we going to build a new infrastructure and build a new user base? It just crossed my mind.
Okay. If you have a good idea for a social media app, if you have a good idea for a social media app that builds on Facebook or Twitter, then go for it. Go do it. We're not trying to. We don't have a particular strategy to do one thing or the other here. A lot of companies make apps that leverage social media and use the power of social media, and they link into things like Facebook and Twitter. So I think at this point it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to create new social networks. Let's look for opportunities to be creative about ones that already exist. Does that answer your question?
No, what I would say is to build on it. Like, for example, right now, Twitter followers go into some individuals. For example, like what happened just yesterday. This Trump guy tweeted something about the reef and the boats. A lot of Filipinos went into it. For them, that's political empowerment. What I'm saying is okay, there's a user base, there's an infrastructure, build an app to utilize that infrastructure, not build an app separately and again build a new user base. Use what's in the current infrastructure and build an app on top of it.
Yeah, you can do that. We're not putting any constraints on anybody in terms of their creativity and how they want to solve the problems. So it's not our agenda is to expose you to the market opportunities, the needs, and to stimulate thinking around all of these things that we've shared with you today and many, many more. How you choose to approach it is based on your own creativity.
At a general level, in terms of does ADP realise that there's an audience out there who maybe don't go to internet sites and search through page by page, but use social media and tweet it. My current position is working with civil society groups. ADP has a cooperation policy with civil society, and my team runs a Facebook site for NGO civil society, and we monitor what the audience is there and try and put appropriate links from ADP's work, but also from other groups, from knowledge that is within civil society. So if you work